I'm the type of person that cries when the Florida Gators loses a football game. I'll yell at my mother-in-law if we're playing pickleball at Thanksgiving and she misses a shot. And I've 100% sacked a 9-year-old kid at our annual flag football game during our church when we're already winning 36-0.
What?
Everything is a big deal to me, and that trait has served me very well in business so far. I'm 23 years old. I've made over $1 million online. We're on pace to do over $1 billion this year between both of my businesses. And a lot of that is because of my obsessive personality, where I'll just obsess over whatever I get hooked on. But there's a dark side to that. The bad days hit way harder. And if you run your business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You get stuck on this roller coaster where the great days feel amazing, you feel like you can do anything, and the bad days, you wonder why you even started. And if you don't have bad days in business and you think I'm being dramatic, you either haven't been in business long or you're a unicorn, and I love that for you. You can click off. I've been trying to break down exactly why my bad days happen, how I can prevent them, or if they do happen, how I can snap out of them quickly, and then also trying to invert that and figure out what are my best days and how can I string as many of those together in a row. I've spent hours putting this together, and instead of it just living on my computer for only me to see, I figured I'd make a video on it. So after working full-time on my own online business for over 4 years now, here's how I've kind of figured out how bad days tend to happen for me. So the first one, and this is a big one here, a lot of times my bad days come from not having a clear goal to work on in the mornings. I like to wake up early and get a lot of deep work done before emails, calls, managing the team, all that stuff comes about. And so not having a clear goal in the morning is kind of the first recipe for it. It doesn't mean all my days without that clear goal are bad, but that's like a clear kind of recipe for it. Because what happens is I'll still normally wake up 5:30 and get on my computer. And what happens is I just kind of drift, right? I go from email to checking YouTube analytics to checking, financials to checking customer support requests to billing people to doing all this stuff. And I kind of just get in this shallow work trance where I'm just kind of hopping from thing to thing to thing and being very reactive. And what happens is I'll see a video on YouTube about how the end of the world is coming and AI is taking over, or just something stupid, or somebody else similar to my business posts a video and I'm comparing myself to them like, oh, they're doing so much better, or oh, we need to do this. And I get really worked up about it because people say comparison is the thief of joy. I think if you can compare small things, you can make progress. Comparing big things that may take a while can be a little bit less beneficial. And so maybe I'll get jealous or upset that we don't have something in our own business yet. Or it's an annoying client. I can see an email and you're just like, oh my gosh, that person again. A client cancels and maybe they canceled for a specific reason that a lot of people have been canceling for. And you're like, oh my gosh, this business model doesn't work. What happens is either unconsciously or consciously, I kind of move into this negative headspace. I'm a little bit short. I'm in a bad mood. I'm easily distracted. I see everything through a negative lens. All the suffering is going on between my ears. Really nothing bad is happening in the business besides maybe a bad email or something like that, but I am suffering within my own head and I kind of have to snap out of it. What happens and really makes this spiral is a lot of time this leads to even more shallow work, and then it leads to guilt and shame because I haven't been productive, not getting the right things done, all that sort of stuff. And so it's this cycle of shallow work, guilt and shame, back in this negative headspace, and just goes round and round. And so this can, and it used to all the time, ruin a 10 to 12 hour workday for me. Kind of have to find your own version of this. Yours is probably gonna look a little bit differently. Maybe you notice different triggers or you have different things that you do when you are in that negative headspace. But for me, that has been what my negative days look like, and that those can really mess me up. And so here's how I've kind of operationalized snapping out of it, right? Some things that I can do to kind of get back into the flow. Number one, I recommend this for anybody, even if you work outside, just go on a walk. Leave your phone at home and just go on a walk. Just walk around. Get some sun if it's out there and just let your mind just relax. Think about the birds. Just be present where your feet are. That tends to kind of snap me out of it. Another thing is working out. So I took honestly 2 or 3 years off from working out. And just recently in the last 7 months, I've gotten into it. And I am like a different person after I work out. For me, with that obsessive personality, everything feels like such a big deal when I'm sitting at my desk. It feels like life or death. It feels like this is my quest and this is like everything I'm going after. And it all feels so inflated. And for me to go out, work out, try to lift heavier, try to work on, whatever I'm trying to work on, and my handstand push-ups or whatever it is, it's like a new quest that gets my mind off of it. And I think scientifically your body is pumping endorphins, I think, when you work out, and so you're already feeling better. A pump after working out is like God's way of congratulating you, even though it takes a long time to build muscle. Workouts make me feel great. Those have helped me to snap out of it and kind of prepare, if I'll split my day up with a workout, and that can kind of get me in the right headspace for the second half of the day. Another thing, and this is great if you already have customers and you've already gotten people results, but it's read positive reviews and testimonials. Put yourself in the shoes of those business owners that you've helped. We help people get more reviews. Now we help them rank higher on Google and stuff like that with our company Review Harvest here. I will go through and read our positive reviews, read how people are saying that we've changed their business, how their phone's been blowing up, how they're having to hire more people because of all the reviews we've gotten them and helping them rank higher on Google. And that will really kind of get you tuned back into the why you do it every day. This is why I suffer, because these people are having this life-changing experience and I'm able to monetize that. And that's what business is. And if you don't have positive reviews yet, maybe go look at one of your competitors that you're trying to have a similar business model to and read their testimonials. And you say, I can do the same thing. The fourth one, you have to be careful with this. You don't really want to let this wander and turn into hours and hours. But you know when you're like thinking about a new business model and you're like getting shiny object syndrome and you're like, oh, I can do $500 per website and I can sell 1,000 websites in a year, and so I'll have $1 bajillion. Not to that extent and not for hours and hours, but just sit and get rooted in the raw reality of this is a very realistic goal. I want to hit $10,000 per month or whatever you want to hit. It's like I need 100 people paying me $100 a month and I'm at $10,000 per month. And do the math of like there's 34 million small business owners in America alone. How realistic is it for you to get 100 of that, which is 0.000000001%? So do the math to let yourself know that, hey, this is possible. I just have to do the actions and tie all that math back to the actions that are required for you to do it. If you need 100 clients, how many outreaches do you need to do? How much money do you need to spend on ads? How many pieces of content do you have to post? So do the math just to kind of sit yourself in fact and kind of get out of your head. That's one thing that's helped me. Another one is focusing on a simple task that needs to get done. Maybe if I've already worked out for the day, or I can't do those other things for some reason. One thing I love is just have a boring recurring task list that needs to get done. Somebody's got to do it, but it's not super important. It's not high priority. Maybe sometimes it's a little bit mindless. Just go focus on that one simple task. Maybe it's creating some help documents for your customers for frequently asked questions and giving it to your VA so they can answer those frequently asked questions via email. Maybe it's some bookkeeping stuff. Whatever it is, focus on one simple task that you can just get done and feel some sense of accomplishment. And try to block out all the other noise while you're doing that. Because that's the last point here. Just try to isolate yourself from emails, from Slack, from social media if you can. Obviously, social media you should be able to isolate from. You're kind of in a vulnerable headspace. At least I know I am, and I'm more susceptible to shiny object syndrome where I'm like, oh, it looks amazing. My business sucks. Let me go do this. And you just have to kind of like push that away. Obviously, sometimes you can't get away from emails or Slack and stuff like that, but try to if you can. And then another thing here is that sometimes you just have to, suck it up, right? Sometimes you got sales and onboarding calls. You just got to suck it up. And so what I recommend in that process, listen, I've done over 2,000 sales calls. I get it. But you have to just show up, expect the best, be enthusiastic, go through the motions of what you're supposed to say, go through the script, and really detach yourself from the outcome. I think I always sell the best when I'm like, hey, I'm genuinely trying to help this person. If I can help them, great. If not, no worries. And just detach from the outcome and just try to follow your process that you know works. Because sometimes you don't have the liberty of being able to go on a walk or go work out. Sometimes you've got to do the things you've got to do. And a little side tangent here, I think Alex Ramosi says that business feels like getting kicked in the nuts day after day after day after day after day. And then all of a sudden having an amazing day and then going right back to getting kicked in the nuts. And so if you're having these awful days every single day, it might just be business is hard. There is a difference between like, oh, business is hard and that it's hard every single day and like you're having an awful day. I'm talking about a couple times a month, bottom 10% days where these days just suck and you just have to get through them. And lastly, here's some things that I tell myself on these days. A lot of these are just things I saw from Alex Ramosi or other business influencers that I watch and listen to and encourage me. Why would I expect it to be easy? If my goal is to be the exception, if my goal is to make a top 1% income and to do it semi-passively and be able to do it wherever I want to in the world and not have to have a boss and all those things, why would I expect it to be easy? If I want a 1% outcome, I'm going to have to make 99% sacrifices. And so why would you expect it to be easy? This is not going to kill me. Like I said, a lot of times for me when I'm sitting at my desk, this stuff feels so life or death. I know that seems dramatic. I know. And it's not every day. It feels crazy to me. And so just reminding myself, hey, it's not going to kill you. This is just what I'm doing with my hands right now. One Alex says all the time is this is the story you'll tell. Bigger the dragon, the bigger the hero, the better the story, all those things. The harder it is, the more people will fail, which means the less people you have to compete with. And then zoom out. I'm a very religious person. I'm a Christian through and through. And so I also like to zoom out and just be like, hey, this is just what I do with my hands, right? Jesus was a carpenter. This is what I'm doing with my hands to put food on the table and a roof over our head, and just kind of zoom out and say, this really doesn't matter. This is just a little blip of the time that we're going to be on this floating rock. I really should be focused on more eternal things, but that's besides the point. You didn't come here for a sermon. So another one I love is you can't quit on your worst day. You've got to quit on your best day. People used to come over to our house growing up as kids. We'd play like manhunt or play hide and seek or capture flag, whatever it is. And we would always say, because my dad just instilled it in us, it was like, you can't quit when you're in. Like if you get tagged in hide and seek, you can't be like, oh, I don't want to play anymore. It's not fun for anybody else. And so you can quit, but you can't quit when you're it. That applies so well to business. Don't quit on your worst day. Quit on the day after you sign 5 clients and see if you actually want to quit. Because it's the same thing with hide and seek. Once you're not it anymore, you still want to keep playing. And so I think that applies very well to business. And lastly, I've said this before over and over again, but you just can't stop but won't quit. If you just keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up, keep chiseling away at the life that you want and the business that you want, you can't stop it, because the only way you lose is if you quit. So that's kind of a look at some of my worst days. Here is me trying to operationalize the good days, the days where I get a lot done, the days where I feel like, wow, I really moved the business forward and I was in a good headspace while doing it. And so it always starts with a very clear deep work task. Before I go to sleep at night, basically writing it down on my to-do list, saying, hey, tomorrow morning, here's what I'm doing, here's the steps and the processes of what I'm doing, clearing out all my tabs that were open from the night before. So I wake up, my computer is clean and on the tab that's ready to go for that deep work task. That's a hack, because you hop in, you wake up, and now you've got new emails, and now you've got new Slack messages, and there's new YouTube videos posted. Next thing you know, you're already distracted from your deep work task. And so I have a very clear deep work task. And then the environment looks like Slack being off. Movie, soundtrack. A lot of y'all have probably heard of like Hans Zimmer and stuff, but let me put y'all on some better stuff here. Not better, Hans Zimmer is great. I obviously still have some of his stuff on here. This Atonement soundtrack, Home Alone soundtrack goes hard no matter what time of year it is. I promise you, just put it on. Knives Out soundtrack, Oppenheimer, I think that's how you say it. Soundtrack, that is so good. So I just have soundtracks on in the background. Piano, it's no words, so I'm not singing along, so I'm pretty distracted. Some of these kind of soundtracks will make you feel you are in a movie, you are fighting the bad guys with your keyboard and whatever sort of deep work task you're coming. Once again, I know it's dramatic, but I'm kind of a dramatic person. Another thing is no email and no calls. Obviously, you're gonna have to have calls. I still have to have calls. In the beginning, I took sales calls early, but I did all my deep work 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. And so figure out what block of the day that you cannot have calls. That way you can really be focused. So for me, a lot of times it's like 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. or like 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. I can get 6 hours, sometimes 7 hours of deep work in before I work out, before lunch, and then I have all my calls and all my other stuff back half of the day. And then obviously caffeine. I like to do cell dogs. I call them cell dogs, the little Celsius packets, pour in my water. And then from there, I kind of transition out of my first kind of session of work. And I'll do a little bit of workout. Maybe I'll go on a walk and hopefully get some sun. If it's sunny out, that's always makes me feel good. Then I'll do lunch. I normally do a pound of ground beef with rice, Parmesan cheese, Crystal hot sauce. And then now I'm kind of in a positive headspace. And I've got a workout in, I've gotten deep work in, and so I'm feeling really good. And so that makes later half of my afternoon, whether it's sales calls, onboarding calls, partnership calls, coaching calls, whatever it is, it makes them feel better because I've already gotten my deep work done and I don't have that stuff hanging over my head. It makes me enjoy work more. It makes filming easier because I feel like I've already got, once again, all that stuff done. I don't have it hanging over my head. I can just sit here at my camera and have a good time. Manager time. If I need to, hop on calls with employees or respond to Slack messages, I can do that stuff because this is my shallow work time and I already feel accomplished. It comes down to also, if you haven't seen Alex Hormozi's video on manager versus maker time, it's pretty much like this is my maker time where I'm moving the business forward. This is my manager time where I'm working in the business and kind of, doing stuff there. But this is what a great day looks like for me. Some days I have pretty much all maker time, right? And that is what a Tuesday is for me. Deep work, planning videos, stuff like that, and then recording the rest of the day. It's becoming one of my favorite days. Today is Tuesday. That is my playbook for a good day in business. If you've never seen one of my videos, my name is Clay Lawrence. I make videos about how I make money online, helping local business owners get more Google reviews. Feel free to check out all my other videos. I've got lots of super in-depth videos on how we do that. And if you're interested in taking the next step and working more closely with me, hopping on 2 coaching calls a week with me, wherever you're at in your online business and your online marketing business, and help your business grow, feel free to sign up my link down below in the description to High Level. You'll get an extended 30-day trial and you'll get free access to my community, or you can just pay directly to be part of the community down below if you can't upgrade your High Level plan with my link or anything like that. But I hope you enjoyed this video. YouTube thinks you'll like the next one. Peace.